Hello, hello. Hey, Nathan. Hey, Allison. How are y'all doing? I hope you guys had a better week than I did. Seriously, y'all. I was down for the count from Monday until yesterday. Like 6 days of being sick. I missed about 4 days of work out of 5. I was in rough shape, y'all. Rough shape. And I missed, 2 of my band dudes' shows last night as well, so... I'm all sad. And, all my band was there, too. I felt so bad. Hey, Sandy. Oh... But I'm on the mend, as you can see. I'm not 100%, but I'm in better shape than I was, for sure. Thanks for asking me, Cobb. Yeah, much better than I was the last few days. The last week, really. I did my live stream Sunday night, and then, just before I went to bed, I started feeling a little bit sick, and then Monday, it felt like I was in, hit by a bus. I don't know what happened. I called in sick. I was like, what the hell? And then, yeah, I didn't work Monday. I didn't work Tuesday. I went into work for a couple of hours on Wednesday just because they were short-staffed, and honestly, I felt bad. And then stuck around until I, covered the breaks and then went home. And then Thursday, I was sick again. And then Friday I went into work, but I felt like trash as well. And just went to bed that night and stayed home on Saturday. Lots of homemade chicken soup. Yeah, I did have some chicken noodle soup while I was sick. And just a lot of Neocitrin. And yeah. It was rough. It was rough. And I still got a little bit of sinus pain as well, but... not as much as I did Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yuck. That's when the sinus pain was brutal. And yeah, I still have a little bit of a cough too, but it's not too bad. Sounding good. Thank you, Angel. Vitamin C with zinc. Taking all the advice I can get, y'all. It's also minus 17 here too. It is freezing cold. So that probably didn't help either. But yeah, what's up, everybody? It's great to be back. Welcome back to the General Hospital After Show. I'm your host, Dion Gabriel. And thank you so much for your patience this past week with whatever hit me. The cold, I'm sure I look a little bit red still because of the sinus pain, but it's fine. It's real, you know? But yeah, obviously I had to postpone the Hangout stream from Wednesday, which was postponed numerous times, but we should be fine for this Wednesday. Okay, I'm on the mend. It's going this way. So I should be okay. Minus 17 Fahrenheit. I don't even know, minus 17 Celsius, but I don't know what the difference is once it's 0. I feel like it's weird once it gets past below 0 here. Hey, Kaiwan. But yeah, minus 17 degrees Celsius. So it's freezing cold. But we've had worse. But yeah, Wednesday we'll talk about Grotesquerie and The Merry Gentleman, which is the movie that Felix is in. I watched that with my mom. We were both sick, by the way. Me and my mom both got whatever it was. Thankfully, my grandmother didn't get sick. And our doggo is in high spirits, so yeah. Sam's gone, Michael's now too. Yeah, today we have a ton to talk about when it comes to General Hospital. But before we get into the stories, we obviously have to talk about the casting news that we got just yesterday. And that is that Chad Duell, if you didn't hear, I'm sure you guys have, but Chad Duell, who plays Michael Corinthos, announced on social media that he was leaving GH. And I have what he wrote here as well. So I'll just tell you guys what he said in case you guys didn't get to see it. He says, After many incredible years with General Hospital, I've decided to step away from the show. This wasn't an easy decision for me, but it feels like the right time in my life. I'm beyond grateful to Frank Valentini, the cast, crew, and everyone behind the scenes who have been like family to me throughout this amazing journey. To all the fans, thank you from the bottom of my heart for your unwavering support and for letting Michael Corinthos be a part of your lives. Your love and encouragement has meant the world to me, he concluded. And he said, this isn't a goodbye, it's see you later. Much love, Chad. So, I mean, you guys know that I'm not the biggest Michael fan. I liked Michael when Drew Garrett was playing him and found Chad's portrayal not that great, if I'm being honest. The writing did him no favors either, though. They made Michael really boring overall. And initially I was crossing my fingers that maybe we'd be able to woo Drew Garrett back. But Frank Valentini did announce that they aren't planning to recast the character. I don't think they're going to be killing the character either, just to make things clear, because Frank kind of had a, for now, sort of vibe to what he was saying. Like, there's just no plans to recast him at this time kind of deal. And Frank Valentini also said that they have some big plans for Michael's exit story and, you know, storylines after the fact for his family as well. I will say that Chad does pretty well whenever the show allows Michael's character to go dark. And ever since Drew and Willow have been sleeping together, he's essentially been a ticking time bomb, Michael. So hopefully this story that they have for him is gonna, you know, let him show us what he's truly made of acting wise, and just be fun to watch, because, you know, Dark Michael is a lot of fun to watch. And yes, I'm gonna have the sniffles throughout this whole thing, so bear with me, guys. What was I gonna say? Oh, sorry, I'm just reading your guys' comments. Sandy said Michael can't leave in the middle of the story with Willow and Dirty Drew. Yeah, it is interesting, because this is like the biggest story that Michael has had in a minute. So there was no announcement date. For all we know, Chad is still probably even shooting the show, or maybe on his last couple of days of shooting the show. So we'll probably see him into the new year, I'm sure. But it's just, there's so much going on with the character and his family right now. Allison, you said, yeah, I don't know how he will just leave in the middle of the story. Yeah. Angel, you said, I'm just wondering how they're going to usher Michael off the air. Yeah, it's interesting. Kaiwan says maybe Nell will come back and kidnap Michael. I wouldn't put it past the writers to have them do that. Yeah, they're not gonna kill Michael off, honestly. But yeah, let's get into the stories. We'll start with Michael, because we might as well. Michael has been reeling ever since he saw the footage of Drew and Willow running like farm animals in the playroom. And he confided in Jason in a previous week, which led to Jason beating Drew's face in without revealing why, because obviously Drew and Willow have no idea that Michael knows what they did. Hey, Ricardo. But yeah, this week he tells Sasha that Willow and Drew slept together, but he knows that if he confronts them, he'd have to admit to them that he and Sasha slept together as well, and he doesn't want to blow up her life more than it already has. Unfortunately, he may have done that already. Sasha, she had a nice lunch with Mac and Felicia at Bobby's Diner, where they just reassured her that now that they're family, she will always be welcome to any dinners and holidays, the works. But there is the little factor of her former lover Cody being her cousin, so family dinners are bound to be a little bit awkward, and it's going to take a minute before it doesn't feel awkward, I'm sure. And Mac also gives Sasha a letter from Robert, where Robert tells her that he's helping Holly out of another mess, because that's what she's always in, with a promise that he'll be back before she knows it, and that he's excited to get to know her better. So I hope that happens. Sasha's going to need him probably, and so to that end, after Sasha leaves Bobby's, we see that she has a pregnancy test in her purse. Y'all, you guys know, I really don't want her to be saddled with Michael's kid. But with the news that Chad is leaving the show with no plans to recast Michael for the time being, it's like, where does that leave Sasha? It's so bizarre. We'll talk about Kai and Trina too, Mikab. Sorry, guys. But yeah, in a perfect world, my hope is that Sasha isn't pregnant because the alternative is that she will be saddled with Michael's kid and be forced to deal with it all on her own with like a hungry pack of Quartermains after her, squawking over another heir. Or that she'll lose the baby, and this poor woman has lost everything from her firstborn to her husband to her sanity and sobriety and to now her boyfriend to the family tree that came out of nowhere for her. Girl has lost enough. So I would just rather her not be pregnant at this point. Oh, man. You think she's gonna say that she's pregnant with Cody's baby? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Meet Cobb, he says, Dr. Robin Scorpio Drake has a sister she needs to meet. This is true, but, you know, Kimberly's retired, so it's hard to see if they'll woo her back in, you know? You believe that she and her cousin had sex, but we know that they didn't, though. We know that they didn't. She's even said it out loud, and we know that they got interrupted every time we did see it happen. Back to Michael, though. So later on in the week, he meets Curtis at Volanino's gym to warn him that Drew doesn't plan on giving Curtis the position of CEO because he offered it to Michael to buy his silence over his affair with Willow and was going to screw Curtis over, essentially, for Michael's silence. Michael wants to work together with Curtis to try and push Drew out of Aurora. Curtis doesn't appreciate that Michael's motive is revenge and wants no part of that, but he's a smart man and he's going to keep his eyes open when it comes to Drew's next move and probably act accordingly, most likely. Like I said before, I'm not typically a fan of Chad Duell's Michael, but it's cool when they allow the character to go down a dark path because it gives Chad something to flex his acting muscles with, and he typically does a great job with it. With that kind of material. And since it's likely going to be the last kind of story we see with him for the foreseeable future, there's potential that at the very least, it'll be a fun story to watch, wherever it leads to. But yeah, like it's certainly interesting with how much is going on, like knowing that he's leaving, like what's going to get him out the door, especially because we know that they're not recasting him. Like, I truly don't think they're going to kill him. But they could like, I suppose, make it look like he died, but then let the audience know that he's like kidnapped, maybe by Nell, like Kaiwan says. I mean, it would certainly be a way to keep him away from his family because as angry as he is at Willow and Drew, I don't think that he would just up and leave his kids, you know? But who knows, maybe Wiley and Michael will get into some kind of crash together, but really they'll both be held hostage, and then Willow will just have to deal with Amelia. But yeah, interesting turn of events with him leaving the show. I don't know how, like I said, you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of Chad's portrayal, but just thinking storyline-wise, it's just so weird that he's in the thick of this story, and especially with the potential of Sasha being pregnant with his kid, and for him to just be off screen somewhere so soon, it's like, it's weird. But alright, y'all, let's move on. This week, the citizens of Port Charles, they attended Sam McCall's funeral. I gotta say, what I probably appreciated the most about this funeral is that the show didn't shy away or spend the entire time talking about Sam like she was a saint. In fact, they highlighted some of her low points as well. Both Elizabeth and Carly spoke at the funeral to their histories, which we know are very colorful histories with Sam and Carly, and Sam and Elizabeth. And we got some flashbacks too. So for Elizabeth, they flash back to when Sam and Elizabeth were talking to each other at the black and white ball, and talking about how, you know, Elizabeth is carrying Jason. Or no, the baby was already born. That Elizabeth had Jason's kid, and Sam was gloating that, well, it's a fair trade. You got Jason's kid, and I got your husband. And they didn't show the fight afterwards, obviously because Greg Vaughn's Lucky stepped in to stop the fight, so they couldn't really show it. But when it came to Carly, we had a scene during 2008 era probably, where Jason dumped her, and Carly was gloating that Sam lost Jason, Sonny, and Jax, and they're all three still in her life. And to hit the road, and then Sam backhanded her. So we got to see that again, which was so fun. And of course, we got flashbacks throughout the whole thing. Alexis spoke about Sam, and she talked about how the road to loving each other was not an easy one. And we got scenes of the scene where Alexis was begging Sam to help her daughter when Christina was sick. Sam was pregnant with Sonny's baby, and she was screaming at Sam to help, and Sam agreed to, but then went into labor, and that of course ends up resulting in Sam's baby being stillborn. And then, like a lot of people did speak up there, we had Dante, Rocco, Jason, Danny, Molly, and Christina. They all spoke at the funeral as well, but my favorite speech probably had to go to Spinelli. I've always loved Spinelli and Sam's friendship, and he describes it perfectly, I feel. He was this anti-social tech geek, and she was a bad bitch. That's not obviously the words that he used, but she was this hot, cool chick that, you know, she rode motorcycles and scaled buildings and wore leather jackets, and she was just this cool chick, and Spinelli's a geek. And so, you know, their friendship on paper doesn't make sense, but he also mentions that, like, she never saw herself as above him or as badass. She was just herself, and you know, that's what I appreciate about Sam. And I was like, I never thought about it that way, but yeah, she was this like cool badass, and she was friends with anyone and everyone, and didn't judge, and she was just a cool character, and they kind of took away her coolness after many years, but I appreciated just the Sam that we got to grow up with. And they flash back to a scene of Spinelli and Sam as well, and it was this flashback of her trying to help him build his confidence and whip him into shape, and how excited she was to help him because he was trying to impress Maxie. It's honestly a scene I didn't really actually remember myself, but it was obvious that it was from that 2009 era, which you guys know is like my favorite J-Sam era. And it was just a great year for GH as well. 2009 was a solid year. But yeah, it just showed perfectly how wholesome their friendship truly was. So I loved that, and I loved that it was a scene that I couldn't remember myself. And I don't know, just Sam being so stoked to help Spinelli in that scene, it just made me appreciate the sort of the lightness and like the fiery spirit that Sam had back in those days. They gave him the sweetest lines, and Elizabeth hated her, but technically decided loving her. Yeah, you right, Kaiwan. And Sandy said Spinelli and Sam had a great friendship. Fair Samantha. Yeah. Yeah, it was so... I just loved their friendship, truly. But yeah, it's... it was a good episode. And of course, we got a montage of Sam by the end of it. And it felt like that montage was for us, you know? Like, usually during a funeral montage, it kind of kicks off with something a character remembers about her, and they kind of go from there. But the first scene in the montage is literally Kelly Monaco's first scene of Sam, where she's not sharing a scene with anyone. So it's not like anyone is reminiscing that moment, right? It was Sam in the jail cell with the dog watching her pretend to hang herself to get out of there. So that's what we started with. And the montage in general seemed to highlight all the different nuances that Kelly Monaco gave to Sam over the years, more so than like the big iconic moments that we'd all remember. And I actually really appreciated that. We got scenes where Sunny was holding Sam hostage, and even scenes of Sunny and Sam's relationship, which surprised me because it's not something that they really speak about that often. And just small humorous moments between Jason and Sam. Like, none of their iconic moments, but we obviously got a J-Sam montage just after Sam had died when Jason was saying his goodbyes. But we also got like an early moment where Sam and Alexis started acting like mother and daughter. Plus, we got moments of Dante and the kids, and Molly and Christina. Obviously, they can only do so much when it comes to the sisters because we've had recasts, and that's unfortunate, but I really enjoyed that montage regardless. Angel, you said it's crazy that Carly and Liz eventually became friends with Sam. It really took Jason dying for that to happen, you know what I mean? Because Carly was mourning for Jason as much as Sam was, and that kind of bonded them together. And same with Elizabeth, and they just found some peace within each other. So yeah, I don't know. That is growth. That's what you call growth. And it made sense to get to where they were as well. They've all grown up, the GH cast and the characters. Some still got more maturing to do than others, though. Also, it was really sweet that we got this scene of Molly, Christina, and Alexis having a moment together in the church, just sitting all together and looking at the picture of Sam, just all on their own by themselves in the church, and just kind of having their final moment as a quartet. I just thought that was really sweet. It was just, I don't know. I really enjoyed the funeral episode. Truly, truly. But we got to talk about the aftermath, because Sam's death has kicked off a few new stories. One of them being the investigation into her death. And we finally learned what caused her death. Now, as you guys know, Lucas has been beating himself up over the potential that he could have had some role to play in Sam's death. Danny blamed him for her dying as well, just before that ceremony started. And unfortunately, it led to Lucas staying away from the funeral and sitting at Julian's graveside with Ava instead. Scout is also a Davis. This is true. But I just meant like that family unit, you know, of like the sisters, like Alexis and her kids. But yeah, so Portia, she calls Lucas to let him know that the results are in. And when he goes to her office, she says that he did nothing that caused her death. But who gets called in afterwards is Elizabeth. Basically, we didn't see Portia telling Lucas what caused the death. That happened off screen, and then Lucas showed his concern for Elizabeth before she went in there. And long story short, there was digitalis in Sam's system, something that shouldn't have been administered to her at all, let alone a big enough dose to kill her, which puts Elizabeth's entire nursing team up for investigation to figure out who administered it and how that happened. So, I'm no medical expert, obviously, but I do remember that back in 2009, again, a year that I loved, the mayor's wife actually slipped digitalis into Edward Quartermain's drink at the Metro Court to try and kill him, which caused him to have a heart attack, which resulted in him plowing through the carnival that was happening at GH, and ironically ended with him crashing into the mayor's wife and killing her. And the mayor's wife wanted Edward dead because he could place her at the scene of a crime where his mistress was killed or died mysteriously. So that was that story. So on that note, who done it, you guys? Who do you guys think administered the digitalis to Sam? How did it happen? Why did they do it? I think some people are speculating Cyrus for no. I think it's likely that as well. Um, because of how hyper focused he's been on Lulu lately. We'll get into the Lulu side of things in a little bit. But I do want to get into the other stories that Sam's death has led to before we do. Lisa, you said there's an antidote for Digitalis. I wonder if there's a possibility of her life could be saved. Well, not at this point. She's been dead in the ground for a bit. She's already underground. You know, they can't just go back into the grave and get her. If they had figured out that there was Digitalis in her system before, then maybe. But no one knew, clearly. Except for whoever administered it. Allison, you said Cyrus. Because he doesn't have the referral to have the pills. Cyrus did it. Yeah, but Cyrus could have... Maybe someone in the hospital wants to kill Sam. Well, I mean, Cyrus could have had someone do his bidding, though, you know? Lisa, you said Heather could have done it. Was Heather still in town when Sam woke up from surgery, though, or went into surgery? And also, what would be her motive? Angel, you said Digitalis is for heart failure and arrhythmia. Interesting. Heather is in Arizona. Exactly. Allison, he wants to give Lulu her life back. Yeah, like, in terms of motive, like, that would be, like, my guess is that, you know, he even said that he's giving Lulu quite the gift. And this was, like, before the surgery happened. And he didn't say what it was. Now, that being said, like, obviously he wouldn't know that Lulu would magically wake up from a coma soon. But at the very least, if she does, then Sam being dead would clear the way for a Lulu and Dante reunion. So maybe that was his mind frame, but it's hard to say. We didn't see the body in the casket. Look what happened with Victor. Yeah, but, like, Kelly Monaco's not going to get invited back to the show. And I think that the people in charge know that if they recast the role, then heads will probably roll. So I just don't see them bringing back Sam after this. But yeah, now that the funeral is over, to move on to the other stories, Sam McCall's loved ones have to contend with what Sam McCall would want for her family, particularly her kids. Alexis searched up and down her office to track down Sam's will, and she finds Sam's will in her files, and in it, she stated that she wanted custody, she wanted Drew to be the legal guardian of Scout and Danny. Now, that will is outdated. It was dated during a time where Jason was still thought to be dead. She had brought Jason and Drew into her office to discuss it, and given what had went down with Jason and Drew with the fight before the funeral, tensions were certainly high in that moment. Drew is trying to tread carefully out of respect for Sam, I think, because obviously that is about that's about the kids. This is about the kids. But what I appreciated about this whole situation was that Jason sat down with Dante at the Q Mansion where Dante is crashing for the time being, and possibly permanently. At least that's what Chase was suggesting that Dante does to keep all the kids together, since there's so much room there. But yeah, he sits down with Dante to discuss the kids because Sam and Dante really built a family unit to a point where Danny and Scout love and see Rocco like a brother, and Rocco sees them as his siblings as well. And, you know, they feel that they don't deserve for their family to be split apart. We got to see the kids all working together to solve a problem where Scott dropped paint and supplies all over the carpet in the foyer, while Jason and Dante were kind of just watching on in the distance. And even they can see that they all need each other. So Jason agrees to move back into the Quartermain mansion, where Dante will no doubt stay too, and it is where Drew lives as well. So it seems like the best way to keep the kids together in the same place where Jason can also have more of a role in Danny's life and spend more time with him while putting his son's needs first over his issues with Drew. The only thing I can see putting a wrench in this is if Drew decides to be an asshole and tries to move to Washington and take Danny and Scout with him. And we've known Drew to be kind of oblivious as for what his own kids want, or his own kid wants and needs, especially in the past with Scout. But something that I feel has been overlooked by a lot of viewers, because honestly it was a truly blink and you miss it moment, is that even before the day of Sam's funeral, we actually see that Diane seemed to have Sam's will on her desk. So everyone else is running under the assumption that Sam didn't update her will because she probably felt like there was no urgency to do so. But I'm guessing that Sam was told that every surgery was risky and was probably suggested to update her will just to be on the safe side. So I'm thinking that Diane has that will and Alexis has an old copy of the will, not knowing that Diane worked on that for Sam. And obviously Diane and Alexis haven't communicated since the funeral. So I'm thinking that Alexis is just unaware that there is a newer will that actually lays out what Sam really wants in this day and age for her kids. So hopefully Alexis will communicate with Diane before things get ugly within Jason and Drew and Dante and all the drama there. All right, what are you guys saying in the chat? You'd rather see a recast than Sam dead? I mean, I wouldn't mind it truly. I just don't see that the producers would justify recasting them because they'd have to hear about we want Kelly back forever, you know? And Angel, yeah. Sorry, I didn't see your comment till now, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that the will that Diane had was not the same will that Alexis had in her files. So that's how I feel. And if you guys remember that scene, it was the scene where Alexis went into work because she needed a distraction to keep her mind off of Sam and breaking down completely. And Alexis asked what Diane was working on, and she didn't say what she was working on. She said, "Nothing that can't wait for now," and put it away. Nathan, you said the whole scene with Dante, Jason, and the kids was nice and fine, but at some point Lulu and Dante will get together. Yeah, that's the thing. They'll obviously reunite. But Lulu could just as easily move into the Quartermains as well. She's lived there before. She can move in again. The kids won't be together when that happens. We'll see. Hard to say, honestly. But yeah, by the way, we're always sitting here, we're talking about everyone moving into the Quartermains, and I was on Soap Central, and there's a conversation that's going on there that's like, wait a minute, how many people live in that damn Quartermain mansion at this point? And so everyone in the thread worked it out. There are currently, if you exclude the staff that we aren't aware of, there are 24 characters living on the Quartermain property somewhere at the moment. 24 characters. 24. That all right, okay. Monica, Tracy, Ned. I wrote them down. Monica, Tracy, Ned, Olivia, Drew, Brooklyn, Michael, Willow, Chase, Gio, Lois, Jason, Dante, Sasha, Cody, Scout, Danny, Rocco, Leo, Wiley, Amelia, Trina, Jocelyn, and Yuri the butler. And, again, we know there's at least a nanny in there that takes care of the kids. And God knows however many other staff clean and work at the stables with Cody. And there's all these other factors. Where are all their cars? How many bedrooms are in the mansion? I have questions. Oh, man. Kaiwani said, do you think Jason will become Jason Quartermain? No, I don't. I think that ship sailed. Will Drew start remembering too? They don't even remember if Drew remembers or not, I think. Angel said Scout already said Drew is going to commute, but I just feel him being petty, you know? Lisa, you said Jason's parental right will override the will. Drew can't take Danny. Angel, you said no people on social media, Twitter, and are debating there is another will. Yeah. There truly is. I think there's another will for sure. Yeah, because they wanted Drew to take her to that boarding school. Yeah, there's just been a couple things where, like, Sam has had issues with Drew not listening to what his child wants or needs. Brooklyn, you said Jason finally doing the right thing for his son, moving back with the Quartermains. I do wonder how some of the Quartermains are going to feel about that, though. Nathan, you said if Sam comes back, do you see Jason moving back into the penthouse? No, I don't. I don't. Little M, Tracy's going to flip seeing Jason at the Queen Mansion again. Exactly. She is not going to be pleased with that. Lisa, you said Drew cannot remember Jason's memories. But he can, though, I think. Angel, you said Jason and Dante seem to have kids living situation figured out. I never thought Jason will move back into the Quartermains. That's true. Nathan, you said it's embarrassing how many people live within the Q Mansion. Time to kick out the fake ass ones. Oh man, there's 32 rooms in the Quartermain Mansion. How did we get to that number? Was there some point where it was stated? Hallie said that's a whole lot of people in one mansion. To be fair, I'm talking about the property. We know there's a guest house. Cody stays in the stables. You know, there's other places to live on the property besides the mansion itself. But most of them clearly live in the mansion. So, who knows? It's become a total boarding house. Y'all wanted Q's mansion to fill up after Guza. Now it's filled. Yeah, literally with Quartermains and others. Whoever wants to move in at this point. How's Tracy gonna feel about Sunny's son and Hitman living in living in that house? And Sasha's doing all the cooking for everyone. That's what makes it funnier. She's cooking for 25 people. That's all. Every day. What if the new will have Jason taking Danny and Scout? I think that because Sam built such a family unit, like that's the story they're giving us, that they're such a strong family unit together that she would want all the kids together as well. But we'll see. Hallie said, I honestly thought Dante would be the one to have custody. Jason wouldn't mind it, but I don't, or Jason would mind it, but I don't think Drew would. Should be interesting with Jason being there. We'll see. Angel said, Michael made me laugh when he told Sasha why she never cooked like this when they were together. Because they didn't know Sasha was a cook. Neither did the writers. Just a plot point for much later. But yeah, that was ridiculous. You don't think she's the only cook? Just maybe the main? We'll see. Hard to say. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to find my place in the notes. We were going on a tangent there about the amount of people in that Q mansion. All we need is for Sunny and Carly to move in. Lord, Monica would probably kill over. And Edward would be turning in his grave. How can Drew remember something that Jason can't remember? Oh yeah, like Drew wouldn't have Jason Quartermain's memories for sure. Angel, you said, I wonder how mob life would work with Jason living with two cops. That's true. That is true. Oh, man. All right. Let's move on, though. So, obviously, the biggest story to kick off after Sam's funeral was Lulu snapping out of her coma. And now she's being played by Alexa Havens. So basically, on the day of the funeral, they play that montage of Sam, and then the next scene we see is Lulu waking up, which I guess some people felt a certain way about, and I'm like, whatever. We knew this was coming. We knew this would happen. We haven't seen little Leo. Yeah, we really haven't. We haven't. The will was made before Sam and Dante got together. The first will. I think the second will probably was made just before Sam went into surgery. So that's how I feel. The will that Alexis is not aware of that Diane currently has. That's my theory. We know there's two wills. We've seen them. Think she's the mom from Girl Meets World. That is not the mom from Girl Meets World. You're thinking of Topanga. That is not the actress. That is Alexa Havens is from All My Children, but she's not Topanga Lawrence. I forget the actress's name, but I loved Boy Meets World and Girl Meets World so much. But yeah, so let's talk about this. Oh wait, Lil M, you said did research and counted past and present characters who have all been confirmed has a room in that mansion. There's at least 32 rooms in the Q house. But who's to say that some didn't move out and then some moved into the room where someone else used to live? That is the question. Babe on All My Children, yeah. She was this girl is not Topanga. But yeah, so Lulu woke up. She now resides at Turning Woods, a facility just outside of Port Charles. And this poor girl wakes up to instant trauma, okay? She wakes up and the first thing she hears is Cyrus Renault outside of her hospital room saying that Laura has essentially made him the family spokesperson, which to me, there's no way in hell Laura did that. So what is Cyrus up to here? So yeah, like I don't even know what to think about that. And she also sees that she's been sliced open because of her surgery, the liver transplant. We don't really know what Lulu knows at this point. We don't know if she remembers anything from her time of being in a coma, how long it's possibly been since she's been in one. Although she was at least aware that she was in one, hearing the doctors. Danielle Fischel, thank you. Yeah, they don't look anything alike. You're right, Angel. But yeah, she knows she's been in a coma because the doctor mentioned it outside of her room. And when Cyrus does come into the room, she pretends to still be in the coma because she's terrified, obviously. And he's just there saying, like, I'll take really good care of you, Lulu. And being, very mysterious about it. And that probably terrified her too. To be honest, I can't remember if Lulu went into the coma before or after Laura found out that Cyrus was her brother. So let me know in the comments if you guys remember, because I don't. Whether she knows or not that they're related is irrelevant to like the trauma part anyway, because we at least know that he was still very much a bad guy the last time she was awake. In fact, he was the one that caused the explosion that put her into that coma to begin with. So there's that. Not that she knows that, because obviously she went into the coma before the investigation really got underway. But she's probably got 100 things racking around her brain. She's probably even thinking, this psychopath kidnapped me and is holding me hostage without my family knowing. And oh my god, they sliced me open. Like, that is what is on her mind right now. She's probably thinking, like, they're experimenting on me and shit. Like, who knows? So, Lulu does seem kind of dumb still, unfortunately, because despite knowing that she's been in a coma and been sliced open, she tries to get out of bed and walks away. Girl, you'd obviously be stiffed and sored from this, so that was a mistake, and she fell to the ground before dragging herself back up onto the bed. You gonna be in pain, girl. Did anyone buy Windermere? Someone bought it. We just don't know who. I think on another podcast they said that she went into coma before she found out that they were related. Okay. Lil Emmy said Alexa is going to be my favorite Lulu. So I can't really speak too much about how I think Alexa will do yet. I think that it's too soon. We haven't seen her do much. They did give us a flashback scene where Lulu was overhearing Cyrus while Lulu was overhearing Cyrus speak, probably just acknowledging that she at least knows that that's Cyrus outside of the room at that point. And it's a scene where Lulu and Cyrus are talking at GH while she's being a journalist and being in journalism mode, and Cyrus is threatening her. So, she sees him as a threat. So that was our glimpse of like Lulu in like a normal life scenario. I forgot she was a journalist, to be honest, and I hated that story for her. I hope they don't go back to her being one, because it was just dumb to make her one to begin with. And it just screamed, we have no idea what to do with this character back then. Like, it felt like they had no clue who Lulu was or what to do with her. But I would much rather see her run a bar again or something once they bring her back into society. But yeah, needless to say, I haven't seen enough of Lulu to decide if I like her in the role yet. To me, the real test will be when she's acting alongside Jeannie Francis and Jonathan Jackson and Jane Elliott, because that's where the real test goes. Can she go toe-to-toe with these powerhouse actors and actresses? Julie could. In my opinion, Emmy couldn't. So, Alexa, I hope she can. Truly. And I agree with you, Lisa. I think she does slightly resemble Julie a little bit. Not completely, but there is some resemblance. I do think that she even has a little bit of Jeannie's look to her, too, which Emmy didn't. So that's going in her favor, too. We'll see how that goes. Angel, you said Laura should have been watching Lulu like a hawk. Cyrus wasn't going to call in advance before he visits. Exactly. Brooklyn, you said, Dion, what do you think when Michael was talking to Curtis and Drew about offering him the position that was promised to Curtis? We talked about that earlier. I think that, like I said earlier, Curtis will watch Drew carefully from this point on, and whatever Drew does, he'll act accordingly. I think if Drew truly screws Curtis over, he's going to team up with Michael and try to get the CEO job with Michael's help. The blonde girl's mother on Girl Meets World? Oh! Really? I mean, now that you're saying that, you might be right. She does look like her. But I feel like I would have seen that in the credits, because I looked her up, like, when I saw that she was going to play Lulu. And sorry if I'm lagging here, I'm now using the internet. Let me Google that quickly, because now you got me curious, because she really does look like her. No, she's not listed as being that actress. But you're right, she does resemble the girl that does. Who is the actress that plays her? Out of curiosity. Oh, the actress was named was Cheryl Texiera, so not Alexa Havens, but she does really strongly resemble her. You're right. Lulu running a bar? No, she should continue to be a reporter. She was an awful one, and it didn't make sense for Lulu to be one. I disagree with you, Lisa. Lulu's a Spencer. She puts herself in danger anyway. She could be a PI, but let's not make her a journalist again. That's still not Alexa. She did not play Sabrina Carpenter's mom. Yeah. We saw. But anyway, where was I in the notes here? What were we talking about? Oh yeah, we were talking about Lulu. But yeah, I can't make judgment. I've not seen enough, and I will judge once she starts sharing scenes with the powerhouses on GH, and go from there. All right, guys. So, a couple more things to talk about. The last major thing will be talking about the start of Ava's trial. But before we get into that, let's quickly discuss Trina. As you know, we have a fine young gentleman named Kai Taylor in her orbit, and she hates him. He showed up to the door at the queues at the start of the week to beg her to let him be her partner for their art history project. She slammed the door in his face until Jocelyn convinced her to hear him out. I need someone to explain to me how the Quartermaine property works as well. This is supposedly an apartment above the Quartermaine Mansion property's garage, but everyone can just go into it and knock on the door. Like, I don't get it. I truly don't get it. The layout for the Q Mansion has not made sense to me since they redid it, and the front door ended up on the other side where the closet used to be, and the stairwell hasn't moved. So like, I've got, it's made zero sense to me. But yeah, Lulu can work with Maxie in deception. Oh yeah, that's true. That is true. Good point. But yeah. Anyway, Trina, she agrees to give him a chance, and they plan to meet at Bobby's to discuss the game plan for the project. He ends up being late because he was at the gym just chatting it up with Dex, who was giving him some insight on Trina. Kai, when he gets to Bobby's, he apologizes for being late, and she's annoyed at first, but he slightly impresses her with his organizational skills and his ability to remember things. But will it be enough to help her ace the art project? I don't know. I like their chemistry. I actually do really like their chemistry so far. I'm hopeful that I will enjoy their inevitable, eventual coupledom in the future. But I think they might put her in a love triangle with Gio first. Gio, Trina, and Kai. We had a random scene of Gio and Trina being like all touchy and flirtatious, and Gio teasing her about dancing like a fool in her own apartment that he literally just barged into. But since Spencer isn't here to make an epic love triangle, we got the violinist Gio instead to fill the part. I hope this real life violinist turned instant actor can be up for what could be a prominent story in the future. I would love to see Nicholas Chavis and the guy that plays Kai Taylor and Trina in that kind of story. I think that would be really cool. But in the meantime, I'm rooting for Trina and Kai to hopefully get together, especially if it ends up being a love triangle. I want her with Kai. Will I like them more than Spencer and Trina? That remains to be seen. I don't know, but I'm very intrigued by Kai and Trina so far. I'm glad that Trina's finally getting an actual story, because it felt like she went a long time with virtually nothing. Allison, you said, I don't get it either. There should be a lock on that door. There should be. Kaiwan, you like Kai better than Spencer? I don't know. I really enjoyed Spencer and Trina personally, and I know that they had a pretty big fandom. And I think for that fandom, it's going to be hard to accept a new couple. But I'm very open-minded to that, because I don't see Nicholas Chavez coming back anytime soon. I'm totally fine with Trina moving on, and he seems like a great actor. I'm excited to see where it goes. I just don't want a love triangle with Gio of all people. Sandy says, "No, Gio, please." Lil M, you said Lulu was a very dumb journalist. I have to agree. For the sake of her kids, she should give up that job. Truly, truly. Oh man. All right. Quick Lucky update, you guys. Jack Brennan has been in his ear and has been offering him a job in Africa, and he's really debating taking that job. You know, he's struggling between deciding whether or not he should man up and be a father to his son, or go to Africa instead for a WSB job. Riveting stuff for Lucky. I'm so glad that they're using him so well this time around. Y'all have Jonathan Jackson back. What are you doing? It's so frustrating. They bring back these legendary people into these roles, right? We got Jane Elliott back. We got her out of retirement to do nothing. Now we got Jonathan Jackson back on the show to just mope and decide whether it's worth being a father to his son. Angel, you said there's got to be another white boy that sells cars that somehow can act well to play Spencer. What was Nicholas doing selling cars, you know? Being that good of an actor. This isn't my Lucky. My Lucky loves Elizabeth, 3 kids, and we... and so on and so forth. Want Elizabeth and Finn to be back with each other? I mean, Michael Easton's not coming back. I didn't mind Elizabeth and Finn as a couple. I would have loved to see a mature Lucky and a mature Elizabeth get together. Lucky has not matured. So, yeah, Lucky's not going anywhere. He's staying on contract, so he's staying. I know that. I know. It's just, it's stupid that we're having to deal with him decide. You know, and that he's having such a hard time with it. That's the frustrating part. I know he's staying. I don't think he's going to go to Africa. It's just the story that is. But it's just like, we're wasting how much time on this right now? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just dumb. Yeah, Nick was selling used cars in Florida before GH. What are the odds? Yeah, it's crazy. Thank God he found his, you know, he got hired by GH. Now the sky's the limit for the dude. Alright, last thing to talk about before I end the stream, because I'm talking so much and it's hurting my voice. Flu recoveries, what can you do? But yeah, we're about to see the kickoff of Ava's trial. To see if a jury will find her guilty of manslaughter when it comes to TJ and Molly's baby's death. I refuse to call this Christina's baby, regardless of it technically and biologically being hers. And it drives me nuts every time she calls that baby Adela, to anyone that will allow it, which seems to be everyone. I just wish that she had the sense to keep the name to herself and respect that just because she thought of that name inside of her head that it makes that baby's real name. They've established the name is I've already forgot the real name of the damn baby to begin with, but they named her after I think Stella's sister, right? But yeah, Rick is sure that the trial is going to go Ava's way, but Christina is determined to make sure Ava pays for what she did, or pays for Molly TJ's baby's death. She is basically either planning on lying on the stand and perjuring herself, or giving a very left up to interpretation kind of truth that paints Ava in a poor light. And she wants Molly to do the same. Maybe Jocelyn too. They all might. It's hard to say. I just know that Christina's going to end up shitting the bed and wind up in jail for perjury or something dumb by the time this is over. Irene, thank you, Lisa. Yeah, I see this backfiring on Christina so badly. We'll see how it goes. But it's going to be annoying to watch, I think. I did appreciate Christina said our daughter to Molly. But I think it was manipulative to get Molly on her side because she knows that Molly has a poor opinion on Christina. Christina knows what Molly feels about her. So I think that was just her way of getting Molly to agree to maybe embellish the truth a little bit on the stand. How wild would it be if Molly, Christina, and Jocelyn end up in jail for perjury? Hey, Jacarius. Irene Marie Lansing Davis Ashford. There we go. Christina was only being careful with her words. She had plans to steal the baby. Yeah, it was what it was. She just wants Ava to pay for it. She doesn't care what Molly feels, really. Just don't understand why Christina doesn't like Rick. Christina was almost his stepdaughter for like 3 years. Yeah, but when she was a toddler. You know, like, that doesn't really mean that much. All I gotta say is Alexa and Julie kind of resemble each other. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. That's what we were saying too. She reminds me of Jeannie Francis as well, Jacarius. David, you said, I am so happy that the kids might all end up at the Quartermains. Yeah, me too. They belong there with the other 24 people. Rick is right, it was an accident. Yeah, it totally was an accident. We saw what happened on screen. There's no disputing that. But, I mean, to the audience anyway, we know that Ava didn't push Christina and that she really just tripped over a luggage and fell out a window. Tabiana Ali being a chemistry magnet unfortunately made Geo slightly more appealing. Yeah. Like they're cute, but I'm not here for that. Like if I were to choose between Geo and Kai, I'd pick Kai. Whereas like if it was like Spencer versus Kai, there'd be a battle there. Big family, big house, why not? Monica loves family, that's true. Just wondered, does Christina remember if she tripped? I don't know. I mean, obviously the trauma of falling out a window would probably, skewer her memory. I feel like she doesn't genuinely... I feel like she genuinely doesn't remember exactly what went down. She probably remembers arguing with Ava and then pulling back and falling out a window. But I don't know. She could imagine that she was pushed. Or maybe she doesn't want to see that it was an accident and she pulled herself back and that resulted in the baby's death. Wondering if Ava knows about Portia, or what Ava knows about Portia. She might ask her to back her up. I don't know if it would make much of a difference either way. Nathan, you said I can't imagine no Michael on the canvas, but the show needs to rest the character. Yeah, I need a break from Michael too. Although if Drew was playing him, I wouldn't need a break. But sadly, no recast. All right, y'all. I feel like I'm choking at this point because of this cold that I'm recovering from. So I'm gonna end the stream here. We will have a hangout stream on Wednesday where we'll talk about Grotesquerie and we'll talk about The Merry Gentleman, which is the new Netflix movie with the actor that plays Felix on General Hospital. And Chad Michael Murray is the lead actor in that. Does anyone know why Ava shot and killed Connie Falconeri? To protect Julian's identity, because he wasn't revealed as Julian Jerome back then, and she figured it out. Connie figured it out. Alright, but yeah, I'm going to end the stream here, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you liked this video, give it a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to. I will see you guys on Wednesday. May all of us had a better week than I had last week. I feel a lot better than I did, but I was down for the count for almost my entire week of work. I was at home sick in bed. Just to put things in perspective, I slept so much in that bed back there. Like that, my body was stiff. All right, but yeah, good night, y'all. I will see you guys this Wednesday. Peace out. Enjoy your week. Mwah. Good night. Later. Later.